This episode of Dana Being Dana is brought to you in part by the Wright Center for Women's Health, providing personalized luxury health care.
Hello, and welcome to Dana Being Dana. That's me, and I am thrilled you're with us. My show is about all different aspects of the human connection, things that bring us together, and living life intentionally. Welcome to my anniversary episode, where we are celebrating our first year on Naperville Community Television. For this special episode, I have invited close friends and family to join me for a discussion on an important topic that I reference often because I believe it is so important to living a life with purpose, and that is living intentionally. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
First of all, thank you all so much for joining me for this episode. I just appreciate you and your friendship. You ladies have been supporting this show from the very beginning, and living intentionally has always been an important theme. How does living intentionally resonate with you?
I think it's really important just to really wake up every day and really do the very best that I can do. You know, I think before it was all about trying to please others, and I think you quickly learn that if you're not really having your own cup filled every day, you cannot fulfill other people's. So I think it's just really important to live in the present.
So true.
Yep. I also do that, and I really try to be in the moment with my children a bit more than on the next thing, the next task, work. Try not to bring that home and be in the moment with them.
Well, for me, it's just living each day. I know it's a cliche to the fullest, but anything you want to do, get up, go do it, live with your purpose, enjoy your life.
Yep.
True. Yeah.
Ray, you have supported this show in a very specific way, and I appreciate you because you have been sponsoring the show, riding with the show from the very beginning. Can you tell us about that?
I think it's just really exciting. When I first got a call from you, we had kind of known who we were, didn't really know each other really well, and you called and said, "Hey Ray, I'm doing this really great thing with the TV show. Would you like to help me design the set?" And I was like, never. I do homes for a living. I've never done a set design.
That's so right.
And then I just, you made me feel very comfortable saying, Ray, I have never done a TV show, so why don't we just take this leap of faith together? And here we are a year later. So it's been a lot of fun.
And I thank you. Ray and Amanda, we're all part of a group of friends who have really come together in our adult life.
Yes.
It's difficult, I think, to make adult friends.
Yes.
Sure.
But we've done it in an amazing way. We have our little Bad Moms group.
Yeah.
And we have so much fun together. Can you talk about the importance of having a tribe?
I think, and the tribe keeps growing weekly, daily.
Leah's now in the tribe, my cousin.
It's kind of amazing. It's women from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all professions. And no matter if your husband's sick, your kid is sick, or you've dropped a jar of spaghetti on the grass and it looks like a murder scene, we're here to help each other pick up the mess and make you laugh and
it's very important.
We have a good time. And as we navigate so many aspects of life that we're all facing, when I got divorced, you ladies were there for me. And we've dealt with cancer, we've dealt with parents, so many different things, and I just think that's so important. Leah, my cousin.
Yes, Dana.
Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
You are one of the closest people to me, and you always show up. You're always here, and I love you, and I appreciate you. When I first had the idea of doing the show, both in radio and now in television, it was you and my cousin Gary who jumped right in with your support, one of my first sponsors for radio, and I just appreciate you. In addition to running your own businesses, you support me unconditionally.
We don't have a choice.
You're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. I've learned so much from you as an entrepreneur, and Ray as well. Can you talk about, do people underestimate the work that goes into entrepreneurship?
Totally. It's until you actually get in it, it's one of those things you think you know, you think you understand, and if you've ever had a job, you think you work hard until you become an entrepreneur because you're doing it for yourself. Everything is for yourself. And so you may not have that infrastructure in place. You got to go and get it.
Yep.
You may not have the resources. You got to find it. So everything is on your own, and people really take that for granted, which is why I admire what you're doing, because you're juggling both, edge of the spectrum. You're working and you're trying to be an entrepreneur, which is doubly hard. So I totally admire that.
I think people underestimate the work. And one thing I love about our connections, both family and friends, is that we're very real, very authentic, very intentional. You know, when someone texts and says, hey, this is what I've got going on, you know, people show up.
Absolutely.
It's like, what can we do? Like you said, it's, you know, can we watch our kids? Here's some food or whatever it is. And I just think that's just so important. How can we be more intentional in life? What advice do you have for others who are missing that aspect of their lives?
I think it's important to ask for help.
Yeah.
I think that's what I've learned into my early 40s is I was always thought I had it together if I did it on my own. If I looked like my hair, my this, my that was perfect, and I've learned I cannot do it on my own. And it's okay to ask for help. And I think that is what is really great about our group is that, you know, we all ask for help, and it builds you up. It makes you feel more confident. It makes you feel that you're not alone on an island. You know, on this journey of life all by yourself.
Just be vulnerable with yourself. You really have to take the time to say, I don't know what's going on with me, but just be open to it and go and find it.
Yeah.
One thing I love about us is that we keep each other accountable. Can we talk a little bit about that, how we keep each other accountable?
Sure.
Well, I would say, I think the one thing that we do, and it's grown over the years, is we're brutally honest, but it comes from a place of love. And you have to do that. A lot of times you're afraid of offending your friends or your family, but if it comes from a place of if it comes from a place of love, but you have to be truthful, very honest. And we do that. I think awesome.
I think setting boundaries too is good. When you say, you know, like it was always, instead of like doing everything for everybody else, again on that initial point we spoke about earlier, just really setting those boundaries and holding your friends accountable.
Absolutely.
You know, knowing that we have each other's best intention at heart.
I'm always listening for when you guys reveal nuggets about your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, what troubles you, and because you do this for me, and that's why I feel the need to give back and pour into you as you have poured into me. But we try to push each other too, which I always love. You know, you should post that. You should do that. You should try that. You should, you know, explore that. I think that's so awesome, and I just appreciate how not only have you all pushed me, but you all have joined me on this journey from the very beginning. And sometimes showing up for people is stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing things that you don't necessarily feel comfortable doing or even want to do. But someone says, hey, I'm starting a show. I need you to be on it. I need you to help me.
Yes. I will get a new outfit with that.
Can you talk about that? You know, because I think that showing up is so important. And you guys have all shown up for me on this journey. You want to talk about some of your first experiences
on the show?
Sure. What was your first episode?
Bad Moms.
Yeah, Bad Moms. Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes, I think you're like, who wants to do radio? I'm like, yeah, sign me up. Never done it. I'll try it. Why not? And you know, it's really awesome watching you grow into what it is today and to be a part of that. I mean, you said we pushed you along. I feel like you kind of pulled me with you, and I love it.
Dragged you.
You've
like,
dragged me
on.
by my hair the whole way.
I was hoping someone would say that. We don't have a choice.
What advice do you have for others to make positive changes in their lives, to live with greater intention?
I think you have to get yourself in the arena every day. It's easy to critique from the sidelines, and it's hard, but I think the thought of doing something new is almost scarier than the actual action of doing it. And I think just taking that risk, it might not pan out the way you wanted, but at least you can say, you know, at least I went out and tried. And I think that just, again, like builds confidence. You could be setting a great example for somebody that could be watching you from afar too. So
and support your friends that have these ideas. And yes, you can do anything.
They'll drag you along.
You can do anything. So I think that's important. Supporting each other.
What's some of the backstory, either with what I do, but some of the things that you do that you don't think people really see or really appreciate?
That it's not all funny all the time. It's not all fun. We are very real and truthful, and sometimes we cry together. I mean, that is in the moment, and we feel that with each other, and then someone will try to make you laugh. So you can get through it.
The backstory is you're always tired,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
okay.
It's true.
You put on makeup or a smile and you just keep it going.
Yes, because shortly after the pilot, do you want to tell the story? Shortly after the day after we filmed the pilot, because it got moved because of the polar vortex.
Oh, yeah.
It was canceled, and then we had to do it the following week. But it was right up against a surgery procedure that I had, and so Leah came because she always shows up. Because I was in the hospital, and my medication. Go ahead and tell the story.
So Dana, right after the procedure, bless her heart, she never stops, even through surgery. So she's sitting there, she comes out and she's like, oh, okay, thank you. And so her daughter wanted to call her, and she's like on this.
Call my kids.
Right, she's on this medication, and like she's coming in and out, and we're trying to like talk to her, and she's like super non-responsive. She's like, I'm sleeping. And when Lena called, she was like, hi. She was like, hey, baby girl, how was school? Everything's great. Next thing you know, she's like, I'm good, mommy. You're okay? Yeah. And then Dana was gone. She was like completely gone.
And they thought that because of my medication, they thought that I was. They thought the medication was having an adverse effect but I was just tired.
Yeah.
So,
exhausted.
But it's. I'm very passionate about it, and it's been awesome. And so I just appreciate you. I think. I wanted to do this segment because I think having a tribe is so important. And I think when you have dreams or when you have aspirations or you're doing something, it's the people you surround yourself with, I think, that can make or break your success in trying something out.
For sure.
A lot of people can say, oh, no, don't do that.
Yep.
And list all these reasons why you shouldn't. And it's helpful to have people in your life who encourage you to do whatever you want to do.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
I think that's intention. I think that's purpose. And I just hope that inspires people to do whatever they want to do. I think life is short. We've had some loss in our lives. And I know that's personally motivated me to.
This is who you've always been, though, Dana, from the very beginning. Like, I can say
Back
this.
at the family reunions.
Yes. But even when we disconnected as kids, and then you found me as a teenager.
On TV.
Right. But from that moment forward, you have been always back in my corner. You have always never stopped. And that's just who you are. People may not know this because they see you now or know you now, but this is who you have always been from the very beginning.
Oh, I believe it. I just believe in being authentic. I think a lot of times women tend to not support other women. And so I'm just so grateful to have women like you in my life because we all support each other. The feeling is incredibly mutual, and it's just a great feeling. It's awesome. So
Call on anyone anytime.
Yeah.
It's more fun to do it together.
Yes.
Not at midnight.
For sure.
No, I'm just kidding. You can call me at any time. No, it's fine. I'm probably up. But yeah, what did you say, Ray?
No, I said it's a lot more fun to do this together.
For sure.
This thing called life and
Navigating.
motherhood and ups and downs. It's
Everything.
way easier to do it.
Life, relationships, parents. I mean, life gets rough when you're 25. And so you're supposed to keep a straight face when we say
That wasn't a joke.
we are so serious. But that's what's so important, to have that connection with people for the good and the bad.
True.
And people will show up.
Yep.
So it's awesome. So thank you, ladies, for joining me.
Thanks for
And
having us.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I love you so much.
proud of you.
We love you.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to show you what Dana being Dana has been like for the past year. And we'll be right back. Hello, and welcome to Dana Being Dana. That's me, and I'm thrilled you're with us. Part of marriage and a successful marriage is managing conflict resolution well.
I just can't cuss her out.
No.
I actually said, I love you. And he said, thank you.
When does the line cross between normal depression and anxiety and abnormal depression and anxiety? People don't understand how the pain that they inflict on others, the scars that are inflicted, last a lifetime. Racially charged incidents have been on the rise in our country, and we change that by having tough conversations with with people who do not look like us. I'm just Dana, being Dana. See you next time. It has been an incredible year. I'm so grateful to have fans like you tuning in, friends like you joining me, and just having real conversation, discussions about the things that matter, getting through this life thing together, being authentic, and living intentionally. So cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
Thank you so much to living intentionally.
Yes. Oh.
While stores, parking lots, streets, and playgrounds sit empty as we shelter inside, it's important that we keep our hearts full of love and compassion for one another, and full of hope for brighter days to come. Naperville is a strong, resilient community that will only be stronger together. NCTV 17 is proud to share your positive stories of neighbors helping and protecting the most vulnerable, stories of everyday citizens giving back to our medical workers and first responders, stories of homeowners doing whatever they can to spread messages of kindness and hope. So let's continue to come together even when standing apart, for what awaits us is far greater than what faces us.
NCTV 17's news team brings you coverage that is specific to Naperville, accurate and up to date on the latest developments in our community. In this unprecedented time, these stories keep us informed and inspired. These stories bring us together, even while standing apart. If you value your local nonprofit television station, please make a donation so NCTV 17 can continue its mission of telling local stories on air and online, now and in the critical months to come.
This episode of Dana Being Dana is brought to you in part by the Right Center for Women's Health, providing personalized luxury health care.
Welcome back to Dana Being Dana, where we are talking about living life intentionally. Joining me now are friends of mine who have made careers out of helping others. The mindset is so important to living intentionally. What advice do you have for others in taking that first step?
You know, for me, the first step is changing who you surround yourself with. That's really the first step. And also changing who you're listening to and what you're listening to on a daily basis. So a life that's lived intentionally is a life that you have to be very, almost sort of picky about, and pick and choose wisely who you are hanging around with the most. So that would be the very first step for me.
Yeah, I would say it's a battle of the mind, that you have to fight yourself, face the mirror every day, and make a decision. How are you going to live that day? It's 24 hours that you have. You're not promised tomorrow, but you're promised right now.
The mindset is so important. I think it's so important.
I always say that there's two things. It's vulnerability and truth. So you have to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, this is what has caused me to be in a position of change, that you're needing change. So you have to be vulnerable with yourself. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, as you said, Pastor, when you look at yourself in the mirror, there's that truth that comes out that says, you know what, I have really neglected myself in these particular areas, and this is what I now need to do going forward.
It's so true. And whenever you're trying to do something, anything entrepreneurial, stepping out of your comfort zone, being more purposeful and being more intentional, they always say new levels, new devils.
Right.
In other words, that whenever you're trying something new, there will be trials. How do you encourage others to keep going despite setbacks that they encounter?
Well, Dana, you mentioned new levels, new devils. Well, I often say that you have to live intentionally so that you can live dimensionally.
Say that again.
Yes.
I like that.
You have to live
that's good.
intentionally so that you can live dimensionally. So when you begin to live with intention, it does take you to a new dimension. And of course, with that, there is a new struggle that's present that you have to make sure that you're rising to the occasion. But you know what? I often find that when people do go to that next dimension, they tap into a deeper level of their strength that they did not know was there. And that's the powerful part of their journey with living intentionally.
So true.
Absolutely.
That's so true.
Yeah, you have to have a deep commitment to building a team.
Yeah.
Your team, the kind of team that will be supportive of you and can see you in a new era, new possibilities. So often, many times when you examine yourself, the question I always ask for people is this. I mean, would you recruit yourself to your own team?
Oh, that's good.
Would you do that? And if you don't have the right mentality, the right spirit, if you're not grounded, you may be your biggest enemy in reaching the new level that you're trying to reach.
It's hard to kind of get new friends if it's you.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Which is why the mindset is so important.
Right.
And truth, right? You got to.
Pastor Moss, you recently said that God may be using you in the most difficult part of your life. So don't waste a good storm.
That's right.
And that just hit me like a storm. Can you talk a little bit about, what that means?
Sure. I heard my father years ago when he was growing up in Troup County, Georgia, western portion of Georgia. He used to say that never climb a tree that's never been through a storm, because the branches are never strong and the roots are never deep. Storms do something to allow trees to develop. And storms naturally are there not to destroy, but to also strengthen the environment. And so we have to look at it the same way, that what is this storm for? What am I learning in this process? How am I going to develop when I come out of it? And there's another person, I love this gentleman by the name of William Augustus Jones. He said there's only 3 types of storms. Either you're going in one, you're in one, and you just came out.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And so you just have to decide, where are you in that process? So if you just came out, get ready. There's another one coming, but are you ready to learn from it in the process?
Right. You said bruises can be your greatest blessing.
Yeah, they can. I use the analogy of the golf balls.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was really interesting when I was doing I love sports. I'm kind of a little sports nerd. And I found out that golf balls used to be smooth. We used to live in Augusta, Georgia, and go to the Augusta National. And I found out they were smooth, but they found out that the golf ball that has bruises is able to go farther than the golf ball that hasn't been through anything.
Yeah, it's just like the tree branches.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Bruises can be your uses.
Yes, yeah, there you go. There you go. I love it, yes.
Right.
So I want you guys to talk a little about, particularly in the context of what you all do, how we respond to life's trials matter. And how do you encourage people to make bad moments or setbacks, particularly in the spaces that you're in, of just a footnote and not a chapter?
For me, every struggle, exactly what you were saying, every struggle we go through has a higher meaning, a higher purpose behind it, if you're willing to look beyond that challenge. And for me, it is through our own struggles that we can help and empower other people. And so for every storm, everything that you're going through, just know there is a higher meaning behind it. And you just have to look for that silver lining and not just help yourself in the process, but help others, help elevate others because of everything that you went through. Because people resonate with stories of struggle more than stories of victory and rah-rah. But for me and myself, because I went through years of my own health turmoils and my own health journey, and being a registered nurse myself, I am now able to resonate with other people's struggles so much better because I went through it firsthand myself. So it is all for a greater reason.
And it enables you to help other people.
Exactly.
Which is such a blessing.
I know, it is.
Well, with me, I am a personal trainer and a wellness coach, and I also help people to tap into their signature style. So for me, helping people to realize that when they begin to take care of themselves, that also uncovers a new layer of their purpose. And so when you work on your body, and with training for me, the physical fitness part of it, when you can put your flesh under subjection and you can really tap into the power that you have. And I always say too, like talking about nutrition too as well, I always often will say that your plate can also oftentimes relate to your mandate, on your life.
Yes, all the same.
I do. How do you want to strengthen your body, and what do you want to do? When you feed your body, you're also feeding your purpose, because when you understand there's a deep correlation with the energy that you give out and the energy that you put in. And so when you realize that everything that you've been through is now time, like you can celebrate that, right? Celebrate the journey. And then oftentimes too, you can also give back and pour back into yourself by taking care of your body physically.
Absolutely.
And how would you eat.
good.
That's living intentionally, making time to work out, making time to, be conscious about what you're consuming. It all plays a part in the health of your mental strength too as well.
Yeah, that's really good. I always talk about the idea of, I think it was Robert McNamara, talked about the fog of war.
Yes.
He said it is very difficult for a soldier to make decisions because they're in the midst of everything. That's why you need a general who can see the entire field.
The bigger picture.
Absolutely. They do it in football all the time. There's always a coach who's on the sideline, and there's always one in the skybox. Because the one in the skybox can always see the entire field, while people who are down on the sidelines can sometimes see what's right in front of them. So you have to have people that can see a broader picture, to have a broader vision. And then you also have to have people who clarify, raise questions. I know you're going through this now, but let's really walk through all of the moments in your life. Let's talk about all the different blessings so that we see a fuller picture from 30,000 feet versus you're in the battle right now. And when you're in the fog of war, you can make bad decisions.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't want to make a decision solely based on your pain.
That's good.
You want to have everything included so that you can make a purposeful decision that will be affirming in your life.
Pastor Moss, you inspire so many. Can you tell us what you do?
I serve as a pastor of Trinity United Church of Christ on the south side of Chicago, right off the Dan Ryan, and been there about 14 years, and it's been a wonderful experience.
It's awesome. I really, really appreciate it. How do we encourage others to be more intentional about doing the work?
You know what, Dana, I follow Jim Rohn a lot. He's big in the self-development world. I believe he passed away in 2009, but I listen to Jim Rohn all the time. And he says, for things to get better, you have to get better. For things to change, you have to change. And when you change, everything around you will change.
It's true.
And, because life will never stop throwing curveballs. Life will never stop. You will always be in some sort of a storm. But the key is to not wish for less problems, wish for more wisdom. Wish for a better circle that supports you, and for that to happen, it has to start with you. So, and if that doesn't happen, it's only a wish,
I always say change your mindset.
Yes.
Change your narrative.
Yes.
You change your life.
Right.
And I think that that's just so important. How have you internalized living intentionally in your own life? Because I think to be a leader, you have had trials or you have gone through things to enable you to inspire others.
Yes. And I think you have to understand that the masterpiece is already done, and understanding that when a challenge comes, there is a greater revelation of why that is there. So it presents the opportunity for you to look at yourself and say, what do I need to do? Where are those cracks, that I have to fill? So it's all about getting better. I would often say, too, that when we even become of age, we actually reveal a new layer, a new beautiful layer of our purpose. Because being intentional is all about understanding that purpose is always there. Yes. So really, there's beauty in every obstacle.
Yes,
absolutely.
So what about accountability? And how does that play into walking in your purpose and living intentionally?
It's not the blowing of the wind, but the set of the sail. If you're not setting a good sail, you have no one else to blame but yourself. And accountability is very difficult. It's to hold yourself accountable is probably the most difficult thing, because out of all of my clients, the most difficult person I ever worked on was myself. So, and if things are not going my way, if life, if I'm letting life happen to me versus me making life happen, it's all on me. So unless you're willing to really look in the mirror and be true to yourself and take off all the masks, because we live in a world of social media where everything is covered up and everything is filters and fine and dandy. But if you're not willing to dig whatever you've been suppressing for so many years and really look in the mirror and be able to really start working on yourself, it's things will never change, so it's all on you.
Yeah, I like the way that Mark Twain said it. He said there are two very important moments. One, the moment that you're born, and then the other moment is when you discover why. And when you understand the why, from my perspective, it means you are accountable to God, that God knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb.
Yes.
So you have this divine accountability, and then you have self-accountability. And so then each day, in the words of Fannie Lou Hamer, I have to make a choice of what I'm going to do in this world.
Yes. You want to say, Jeremiah? 29/11.
There you go. Come on.
I know the plan.
That's right.
For I know the plans I have for you.
That's
I
right.
love that.
Plans to prosper.
Yes.
That's right.
I love that. Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you all for joining me for this anniversary episode. Being asked to talk about living intentionally and this journey and being here is just such a blessing and an honor. And I'm just so grateful that you all have joined me for this. I appreciate you all sharing the things that have motivated and inspired you, because I think that that's so important. And I appreciate you for not only being my friends, but being a blessing to other people in inspiring and motivating people to be their best selves. I think that that's just so important. This has been an incredibly personal episode as I celebrate my first year of television. The moment I decided to be more intentional about my life, positive things started to happen. Surrounded and encouraged by genuine support, I've been able to walk in my purpose, and for that, I am truly grateful. Thank you to all of my family, friends, and fans that believe in all that is good in others and who are passionate about what we have in common versus what divides us. Thank you for believing in this show. It has been an incredible first year. Hopefully you have been entertained, if not encouraged or inspired. I do not promise to be an expert, nor do I have all the answers. I'm just Dana, being Dana. See you next time.